Hey, how's it going? If you're watching this, you're probably interested in learning more about music and hopefully finding ways not to be bored. Am I right? Well, you came to the right place. In this video, I'm going to be walking you through the free, popular music app Incredibox. The Incredibox app lets users create beats by combining loop layers with each other and then mixing and arranging these layers in real time. Each character outfit represents a different layer of beat music. With all these layers combined, users can create amazing head bopping beats. I'll be showing you how to use this app while also explaining to you some fundamental ideas in popular music production. At the end of this tutorial, you'll learn how to build and mix your own full beat using the Incredibox app. So, what is beat music? Sometimes you hear it called electronic music, beats, and sometimes just instrumentals. Beat music is any type of music that can be programmed or recorded with electronic instruments. It can be recorded with real instruments as well, and it can be made on a computer or beat-making device. Beats are created by a music producer and oftentimes sold, or are used in collaboration with an artist. Producers sometimes opt to only use their beats as a standalone piece of music, but in popular music, you almost always hear beats as an instrumental to help support and feature a big-name artist. There are four main genres of electronic beat music. The first and most popular music genre that uses beats is, you guessed it, you often hear beat music or beat instrumentals in pop music. Some artists you've probably heard of are Bruno Mars, Ariana Grande, Billie Eilish, Katy Perry, Charlie Puth, and Justin Bieber. All these artists at one point in their career have used beat instrumentals to help support them. Pop music is what I call an umbrella. It contains many styles of music within it, and it generally refers to music that has these traits. The beats are programmed and heavily quantized, meaning the drums are drawn in using a MIDI drum loop. I'll go over what programming and MIDI are in the next video of this series. Basically put though, drums that are programmed and quantized are rigidly locked in with the metronome or tempo. These drums have a very robotic feel to them. The second trait of pop music is that pop beats are repetitive and contain simple ideas that are easy to follow. Most pop songs have what is called a hook, which is what hooks the listener in and keeps them humming the melody afterwards. Third, the artists featured on these songs are almost always the main focus of the song. And so you have a full-fledged song with very distinct verses and choruses, aka hooks. This next genre I'm going to talk to you about intersects with pop music, but it's still a genre of its own. EDM, or electronic dance music, is a popular style of electronic music. Here are some artists and DJs to check out to learn more about EDM. EDM beats are a bit more complex than your typical pop beat instrumental, and are characterized by their edgy and explosive drum and synth sounds. In many EDM styles, you'll often have an intro that builds up to what is called the drop, which is when the drums come in, basically. You'll often hear this after a drop. This drum technique is called 4 on the floor and helps to give the beat a strong forward momentum. Another thing that sets EDM apart from pop is that it sometimes doesn't feature any vocal artists and acts as a standalone instrumental. Sometimes a track will also feature lesser-known artists whose vocals are sprinkled into the song and act as a kind of decoration. Our next genre, hip-hop, also belongs to the greater universe of pop music. If you want to learn more about this genre, I highly encourage you to check out these artists. Just like in the previous two genres, a beat instrumental is made by a producer and then sold or given to an artist or rapper. That rapper writes and raps their bars over the beat. The drums are probably the most important element to hip-hop. Producers usually quantize their drums, but sometimes make them dirtier by either playing them or programming them slightly behind the beat. There are many styles that fall under hip-hop, but some of the main genres are West Coast, G-Funk, East Coast, sometimes called boom bap, Lo-Fi, and the most popular style, trap. The last genre I'll be talking to you about is Lo-Fi or indie style. These beats can sometimes fall under the umbrella of hip-hop. This is my personal favorite and is the least known of other genres because it doesn't fall under the umbrella of pop music. You could call this an indie DIY style of music because most of it is made in a home studio and it has a very niche audience. This style is usually characterized by a grittier lo-fi sound, hence the name. Beats are usually standalone pieces but will also feature other artists, vocalists, rappers, and sometimes instrumentalists. Unlike the pop and EDM genres, the drums are often sampled and producers do not quantize their beats. This means you get less of that robotic and more human-like feel. Producers of lo-fi beats often use a wide range of sounds and harmonies that make the beat more complex and dynamic. So now that we've covered the 4 genres that we find beats in, we need to talk about some important fundamental beat concepts: loops and layers. Loops can be anywhere from 1 to 4 measures long, and sometimes longer. Once a set of loops is created, a producer then has to create a dynamic arrangement with those loops so that the beat can evolve over time and keep the listener drawn in to its ebbs and flows. Loops are also meant to inspire and make it easy for an artist to lay their part down. The last fundamental concept I'll talk to you about is layers, also known as textures. There are 4 main layers to beat music, and I'm going to demonstrate each of these layers using Incredibox. At this point, if you want to follow along, go to Incredibox.com and select their free web demo, or you can purchase it for your phone or computer on the App Store for $4.99. When you're at the Kit Select screen, choose the Love. Okay, so let's get into it. The 4 layers I want to cover with you today are rhythm, aka the drums, melody, effects, and bass. These layers all work together to create the overall character and vibe of a beat instrumental. Let's talk about the foundation and what I consider to be the most important layer of beat music: the drums. The drums are a driving force, and in Incredibox they're labeled yellow. Let's explore the drum sounds. These are hi-hats. Hi-hats in most beat music are the fastest moving part of the drums. If you noticed, there's a counting bar up here that tells us these hi-hats are looping, and they loop for a total of 4 measures, totaling 16 counts. Okay, that's the hi-hats. The next drums we'll focus on are the snare drum and the tom-tom. The snare is probably one of the most important elements of the drums because it gives our beat symmetry and helps us feel the rhythm a little bit better. The tom-toms are used for fills and transitions at the end of the loop. We have 1 snare drum and tom-tom outfit in this kit. If you notice at the end of the loop, we hear the tom-toms come in, and we also hear a crash cymbal to show us where the loop begins. Okay, the last and most important is the bass drum or kick drum. The kick is the foundation for the drums that gives the entire beat its forward momentum. Let's listen to our kick drum outfit. If you notice here, we have the 4 on the floor pattern that I mentioned earlier. This pattern is usually found in EDM music. Let's now look at the blue outfits on this kit. The blue outfits for this kit are the bass and effect sounds. There's only 1 bass in this set, so we'll go ahead and engage it so you can hear it. If we engage the rest, you'll hear that they are effects. Effects are like fancy little decorations we use to help spruce up the beat and help fill in some space. So that's the bass and the effect sounds. Let's move on to the red outfits, which are the melody and harmony voices. Melodies are the catchiest part of a song and help guide our ears. Harmonies complement the melody and help keep it dynamic. If you notice, these are melodies and harmonies that don't have any words or lyrics to them. If we move to the purple outfits, you'll notice we have more vocal melodies, this time with words, as well as some beatboxing rhythmic sounds. Okay, now that we've covered all 4 layers in Incredibox, let's get into the fun part, making our own beat in real time. Incredibox lets us make a beat by having us choose which loops we want and letting us build it up. In order to record and build up our beat, we need to click our 3 lines here and click record. Before we do that though, we need to make sure that we haven't dressed up any of our characters. Let's go ahead and start by dressing up my first character. Okay, now that you've finished recording your beat, you can name and save it. In the free demo version, you can save a link to your beat. In the paid version, you can save it to your computer. Okay, that was my beat. Now it's your turn. When recording your own beat, keep in mind these simple guidelines. 1. Start small, so you have room to build on top of. 2. Build up to a climax, and then bring it back down. 3. Make sure to use drums, bass, melody, and effects in your beat. Now see what you can make on your own. Don't be afraid of making mistakes. This might take you some time to get the hang of. Alright, so that's all we have for today. Thanks so much for following along on this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it and learned a thing or two about beat music. Keep an eye out for more tutorials in the series Exploring Music for Teens. Lastly, I'd like to say thank you to the Phoenix Conservatory of Music and the Velma Teague Library for making this video possible. Thanks and see you next time.